Hello, good evening. Welcome to Talkin Kop. This is the Bournemouth preview show. Sorry, we've Ashley. It's Chris Brackett, Ashley, and Kev. We've just upset Kev royally
Destroyed me.
just as the show's going live. So, should we, for a peek behind the curtain, we were talking about, and Ashley rightly pointed out, this will be the first time in my lifetime that they'll have paraded the trophy around Anfield as in, as reigning champions. I was like, oh yeah, because of COVID. I said, well, that was 1990, and Ash went, well, I wasn't born. And then I was like, oh, I was 7. And Kev just went really, really red. So, can you tell the footy's back? We've upset Kev already.
Can you tell us what it was like back then?
I was 18 in 1990.
Was it in black and white? Was it in black and white, Kev?
I was 18 in 1990. Italia 90 just happened. It was the absolute best time to be alive and going clubbing and pubs and all that shit. The start of the 90s, can't beat it. It was unbelievable. And going into the 1990s as champions as well. Not bad.
Yeah.
Little did I know what was to come like.
It
started off really well.
The next 30 years in the league was a bit less to talk about, but we'll go into that. So
just gloss right over that.
Gloss over, nothing happened before Jurgen.
Yeah, and in 2025 we arrive and we are going to be starting the Premier League's campaign as champions on a Friday night against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, I love playing Bournemouth because they're usually good games.
Usually good games. I mean, our record against Bournemouth is excellent, especially at Anfield. Anfield record at host them is ridiculously good. But Bournemouth's always an entertaining game because they're quite an open side, whether it was Eddie Howe managing them or that they like to play football. So we do give you chances, but as
thanks for that little. That's really nice, guys. Thanks.
That's Kev all over. So for those who are just listening to the download, Kev just blocked Ashley's face, which is really polite.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Honestly. But the one thing Slot did warn against Bournemouth, and he's right, is they'll still have a go, especially under Areola. Even if they're 3-0 down, they'll still go at you. And he said that himself. He said, we were 3-0 up at half time. He thought, happy days. And he said, it was just a nightmare second half. So, if it kept going. But Ash, let's just talk about Bournemouth for a bit. We'll come on to Liverpool stuff, both on and off the pitch, and then a little bit. Not quite sure what to make of Bournemouth this year, because it's going to be a pretty much brand new keeper and brand new back four. There's a lot of change at Bournemouth, a bit like Liverpool.
Yeah, there's a lot of change. I mean, they made a lot of money. If you look at that back line, I think it was 171 million euros that they made just off of the 3 players that they sold. And most of them were brand new to the club, which bodes well for Hughes' ability to kind of identify young talent, that's ready for the league. And I think that we'll get onto Leone a little bit later, but I'm really looking forward to that. I honestly, I'm going to have to look up because I just got in. I don't even know how they're going to line up. I don't even know the players that they're going to line up with in the back. You guys are probably going to have to walk me through this because I'm a little bit behind my normal prepared self.
I've got a predicted lineup here for Bournemouth, and it's across most of the media. They're mostly going with a 4-2-3-1. They haven't had the best preseason. A lot of losses, including against the likes of Everton and a few other clubs in there. They've not had a good preseason at all. Really disrupted summer, but in the last week they've got their backsides in gear and brought in a couple of players. Most of the media have them lined up as a 4-2-3-1, including some of the Bournemouth podcasts as well, with Petrovic, who's coming from Chelsea for 25 million in goal, Arujo right back, Diakite, Senesi, and I'm going to butcher his name, so I'm just going to call him Adrian, left back. Another new signing, but that's two standout signings at the back. Tyler Adams, David Brooks in the middle of the park as he double six. Antoine Semenyo, Marcus Tavernier. They've got Dwango Outara listed to start. Whether he does or not, I don't know.
Evan Nielsen as well.
And Evan Nielsen up front. So
the other one is the young Englanders. What do you want? Scott.
Alex Scott is an option. I think
He was a good player as well. He had a good Euros.
I really like Alex Scott. I've liked him since he broke through at Bristol City. He went to Bournemouth. He went from Bristol City to Bournemouth, I think, for around 20 minutes. It's a tried and tested route now for Bournemouth after Bristol City Academy. They've brought Anton Scalini already. They've been back, brought your man in.
Kev, just sit forward a bit. Sorry, your microphone's got all.
Sorry, is that better?
That's better.
Much
Yes,
better.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
sorry.
sounded like you were underwater.
Sorry, yeah, no. But Scott is a really good footballer. I see Scott as more of a 10, an attacking midfielder. But I think if they play him in a double six, it's something that we'll definitely target because he's very good on the ball. He makes good decisions most of the time. But I think he's someone that you target if he's playing in a double six. But you know what you're going to get with Bournemouth, and I don't think the style of play is going to change, irrespective of the sales that they've had this season. They'll be attacking, they'll be really good on the counter, but we've generally defended really well against them. Last season at home was 3-0, but even Slot came out. We were 3-0 up at halftime, and he said, I don't know how that happened. It was just one of those kind of weird games where we went in at halftime, and in an interview he did recently, he was talking about the difference between the Dutch League and the Premier League, where if that was in Holland, you go in at halftime 3-0 as champions or a side expected to be challenging. The other side just roll over and it's 5-6-7 and it's an easy day's work. And he was anything but. Bournemouth kept going all the way, and I expect the absolute same tomorrow night. It's going to be a really, really hard game to get over the line.
Ashley's throwing some stats in here. One has pleased people, one has not pleased people. The one has pleased people.
Just trying to balance it out here.
Liverpool have won their last 6 home league games against Bournemouth by an aggregate of 23-2. So that's good. Bournemouth haven't lost their opening match in the last 7 campaigns, which is thanks a lot, Ash. We could have done.
Someone's always got to go.
I know, but I think Liverpool's record, which I saw before, because I did a vague bit of research, which is rare for me. Liverpool haven't lost their opening match for the last 12 campaigns. Last time they lost was 3-0 against Bournemouth in 2012, 2013, Brendan Rodgers' first game.
They've won 9 of those 12.
Yep. Yeah, so, I think in our last, I'm not sure this stat will stick, in our last 3 games against Bournemouth, we've kept a clean sheet. I'm not quite sure, Kev, that's going to happen. But, Ash, you're looking forward to it?
I am. I'm just looking forward to our entire team being able to be Premier League champions in front of a crowd. Because, the last time that they were Premier League champions, I'm sure to a degree it felt like they were champions, but they didn't get any of like the parading or the lauding or the singing or any of that. So I'm just really excited to see them walk out onto that field and have everyone just sing like champions, champions, champions the whole time. It's just, I feel like the environment is going to be electric. I think there is going to be that moment in the beginning that's going to be very somber, especially with regards to Diogo and his brother. I think that there's going to be that minute of silence, which is probably going to hit a lot harder than the preseason match, I would imagine. You're going to have a lot more regulars that are going to this game.
Probably minute 20 as well. I'm sure.
That would be nice. But I think this is probably going to be the first time where all of sort of like the regular crew that tends to go to those games is going to be together. And so that's going to be emotional. And I think that, once the team gets through that, I hope that, the atmosphere does kind of go back up into one of excitement, because it is exciting. It's exciting that this team gets to be, champions in front of a crowd. I think that that's just fantastic. And that makes me very, very excited.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of lineups, I'll stick with you, Ash. I think Slot, when he was talking in his press conference, we'll come to Slot's press conference, he went on little tangents about being too nice and free kicks and all sorts, but we'll go on to that in a minute. He mentioned, so we've lost 4 starters, but we've brought some in, but he said technically we've lost 5 because there's no Ryan Gravenberch for this game because he's
got the red card,
which is what brought his little hump up because he was quite offended that Ryan Gravenberch got booked for diving. But
I don't even know if it was a dive. It felt like, I mean, I was there, which is wild because it feels like it was a long time ago. That felt like it was a red card and I was watching it from way up in like the nosebleeds.
The second yellow. The second yellow, I was surprised it wasn't straight red because
I mean, it was an atrocious tackle. I mean, the first one was a dive. But there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, unfortunately, last week his partner gave birth, so he wasn't able to play for that game. And this game, he's going to have to set it up. He will be back soon, and I'm hoping that we've got enough at this point in time. I mean, our midfield is the area that I do feel most kind of comfortable with our depth, anyways. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So I mean, lineup wise, we'd expect Ali in goal.
Yeah.
You would probably expect Frimpong to start because Bradley's not going to make it. Kanate and Van Dijk, and you would assume it would be Kirkes as long as he hasn't picked that. There's no talk of a niggle or a knock after the Charity Shield where he seemed to upset himself a little bit. The way he was talking, I would say McAllister starting. I'm not saying he's going to play a full game, but he's definitely starting McAllister for a bit of experience. It's who's next to him. My gut feeling is that it's Szoboszlai because that seems to be who he's talking up.
Yeah.
He didn't really mention Jones in the...
He wasn't nasty either, to be fair. So.
Yeah, but he sort of offered up a bit of Szoboszlai chat, which generally is a bit of a hint of that's the way he's thinking of going, Szoboszlai McAllister, which would be different one. Probably McAllister playing the deeper role from a couple of years ago. And then I kind of think I think the front four picks itself, really. Wirtz in the 10, Gakpo on the left, Salah on the right, and Ekitike through the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, there isn't really many other options at the moment because he isn't going to play Chiesa, and I don't think he's not ever, and he's not going to play the two kids. They'll be on the bench, but I think he'll hope to only have to bring them on if it's a comfortable lead. But I suppose that's the only slight concern is at the moment, probably for this game, is there aren't too many options. Kev off the bench to change the game. We kind of saw that a little bit in the Charity Shield. Now, listen, we'll come on to transfers. I'm sure there is going to be more adds to the squad before the window shuts, but probably for this game, options are a little limited. It's almost like the first 11 probably has to do the work and get it done.
Yeah, and I mean, look, the injuries you're looking at as well. Bradley, doubtful. Gomez, probably on the bench. But Stefan, we won't see until God knows when, or if we'll see him at all. But at the end of the day, the squad's the squad. And everyone is delighted with the work that's been done so far. The bench options are all right. I have no issues with it. You still have Harvey Elliott at the club. You still have Rio and Gamot to come off the bench if needed. Yeah, no, I'm fine with it at the minute. The only worry I'd have with that 11 is Szoboszlai defensively, positionally, with the way Bournemouth will probably look to make runs using Semenyo off of the back in that half space between the sixes and the centre backs. Yeah, in between the centre backs and the full backs, Szoboszlai, if Frimpong goes, which he just will, he'll just.
Szoboszlai's going to play right back.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to have to be aware and very aware of the space in behind him. There's an argument to play 4-3-3 where you play McAllister as a lone 6 and you play Szoboszlai and Wirtz as 2-8s, supporting a front 3. That option, I mean, formations are formations. The way it'll play out on the pitch, it'll more than likely be like a 3-2-5 when we're on the ball. When we're off the ball, it'll be a 4-4-1-1. I mean, that's how it'll probably play. So, again, tomorrow night is going to be a really, really emotional night for so many reasons at Anfield. Ashley hit the nail on the head. This is the first time, not just since we lifted the trophy, it's the first time since the parade, since what happened after the parade, that's been lost in everything since Diogo Jota and Andre Silva's passing. It's the first time that the Anfield crowd is going to be back. The season ticket holders, the regular match-going fans are going to be back in the ground for the first time since all of that happened. And it's a lot that's happened. The players going out playing a meaningful game it's not like preseason. You have a mindset, but it's almost like boxing. The bell rings, a switch is flicked, and you go into your normal mode. So there's a lot of change. There is a lot of change in that 11. Your two fullbacks have changed. Your 10, your 9. Positionally, Szoboszlai's in a completely different position more than likely. So it's a lot to blend in as on top of everything else. But at the same time, Bournemouth and plenty of other clubs up and down the league are in exactly the same boat. There's only a couple of clubs really that you'd stand back and say, yeah, you haven't done a lot, which will probably stand to you early in the season. So we're just going to have to get on with it and get a result tomorrow night. But yeah, I think tomorrow night it's going to be really, to build up, everything's going to be really emotional about it.
Okay, name one player that you're really looking forward to watching tomorrow, and you can't say Florian Wirtz.
Ekitike.
Ekitike. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's been really good, and I think that's you talked about the bench and everything like that. That's my one concern is how long can Ekitike go in this match, because the minute he came off in that charity game, like we lost all sort of attack, and everything looked very blunt. And I know that you could do something like a Szoboszlai and a Jones. Thanks again for that.
No, I know. I'm trying to get that.
I know you could do something like a Szoboszlai and a Jones as like a double 9, but I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen temporarily while we're waiting for our alternative forwards to come in, because I just don't feel like we've got that much going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose with this one, Slot probably can almost push most lads to 90, because it's a bit weird, after Bournemouth, we don't play for 10 days. Because the next time we play is a bank holiday Monday. So we've got like a 10-day gap after this. So probably got plenty of recovery time and plenty of time for Richard Hughes to do some magic, hopefully. Kev, who are you looking forward to seeing? You can't say Ekitike, you can't say Wirtz.
Oh, no, Frimpong.
He's took mine. He always does this.
No, look, he's a completely different right back to what we're normally used to seeing. I think him and Conor Bradley are very similar, but I think Arne Slot alluded to it. Frimpong is probably slightly better on the dribble, but Frimpong and Conor Bradley love bombing up and down. It's him and Salah link up, and how, because I honestly think that Frimpong wants to occupy the space that Salah's in, and I think they kind of cramp each other a little bit. Noticed it a few times in pre-season when I've watched games back. They're still working on it. You can see they're still positionally working about where they need to be and how the triangle is supposed to work between Frimpong, Szoboszlai, who's going to be that side, and Salah. And then Florian Wirtz drifting over to that side to be the extra man as well. But that's going to come with time. I love watching him play. I love his energy. I love his character. I love his off-field absolute lunacy. But on the pitch, he's as mad as a box of frogs. And I absolutely love that about a player.
I think he's going to get a lot of goals this year.
Yeah, I think he's going to be lively. When you look at the amount of chances that our fullbacks got last season, look at the amount of chances. How many post-match shows did we do last season? And it would almost come out of my lips every time. It'd be like, if it was anyone but Randy Robertson on the end of that. Do you know? And it's like the positions that our fullbacks tend to get themselves into, they will get chances. I expect him to get a chance a game. And then if he plays 40 games and gets 40 chances, good chances in a season, I expect him to push, 8, 10 maybe even 10 goals.
Yeah. I mean, the Ekitike one, which Ashley said, is maybe because I don't watch loads of German football. I'm not going to claim I do, but he's deceptively tall until I saw him in the flesh. But it was like watching Peter Crouch with pace, which is a very scary thought because his link-up play was excellent, and I think that's what we missed. But he's also quick. It's quite nice to watch a striker who tries to pass the ball on the net. Most of the best strikers tend to, so that was quite a nice thing to see. So Ash, what score prediction are you going to go for?
I mean, I think with Bournemouth, they're going to go forward because their defense is very new. We talk about our defense being, kind of makeshift and learning from one another. Theirs is more so than ours. So I expect goals, to be honest. I would say I'm going to go 3-1. We're going to win. I will clarify. We're not having another Fulham fiasco. I think we're going to get countered on, and we're going to see that same goal, because I think that's what Bournemouth does. They're very good on the counter, the same way that Palace is very good on the counter, and it just seems to be our Achilles heel right now. But I think that we're going to go and try to kind of just come out of the traps really quickly. And I think that if we can get some of those connections between Ekitike and Wirtz and Mo Salah, specifically those three, working, I think that we could easily get a couple of goals in the first half. And once it goes to 3, I think that, you might see Slot's kind of more conservative, let's hold what we have, come back out. But I do think that Slot's going to want more goals this year. It seems like that's his message. He wants to get a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah. Ashley's already broken the first rule of score predictions. He's not actually given us scores.
Well, I didn't have an opportunity to ask. I heard to say it.
You know the rules. Go on.
All right.
Who are your goal scorers?
I mean, I think Mo Salah continues his thing, because Mo Salah loves scoring on the first day, and especially after that Wembley performance. I think Ekitike also. I'd love to see something from deeper in midfield. I'd love to see a Szoboszlai or a McAllister get a goal, especially even a set piece would be nice. Or a corner. A corner would be lovely. I think that maybe we might see a Wirtz corner actually have someone on the end of it. I'm going to go with that instead as the third goal.
Okay. Kev?
Yeah, I think probably 3-0. Could even be 4. Going back to the Norwich game, this last time we were on a Friday night, starting the season. I was watching Gav is over in Liverpool at the minute, and he'd done a pod with Mick Moran, and they got onto this conversation actually, and it was a really good one. What do you guys think about the Friday nights? Because the thing is, Friday night football, we don't get, because of Europe and because of the fact that we tend to go deep in Europe, we don't get a chance to really play Friday night football that often. We generally don't get a chance to play on Monday nights either. Because of the European schedule, we don't often get on there anymore. But what do you guys think about it?
It's a bit of a double-edged sword. I like the Friday night games because they're European vibe about them. I think the atmosphere is great. But on the flip side, if you're the away, it's a bastard if you're the away supporter getting there. But I'd much prefer a Friday night game to a 12:30 Saturday. If you gave me the choice of which would you want people to have, I'd rather have a Friday night game than a 12:30 Saturday.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Ashley, how's it for you? Because you're across over in the US.
Yeah.
How is it for you on 8 p.m. on a Friday evening? For 8 p.m. UK time, 3 p.m.
It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So, the unfortunate part is, the unfortunate part is a lot of times I'm working. And I can usually squeeze it in and kind of work my schedule around it, but it's not awesome. I think an 8 p.m. Friday game sounds fantastic. So if it was, if I was in the same kind of time zone, that would make a lot of sense. For me, it just kind of feels, like I'm always rushing to get out of work to go and, make it. And I think the Newcastle game is going to be the same. I'm going to have to do some finagling with my schedule to be able to watch it on a Monday. I guess it's one of those things that you kind of just get used to whatever you have. And I know Matt has talked about this as well, but there's something really nice about having games early in the morning on a Saturday and a Sunday. And if you win, especially, you're just jubilant for the entire weekend. And you're just bouncing through your Saturday afternoon and no one quite understands why. And I love that now. So I kind of prefer that, I think. To a Monday or a Friday. But that's just me in my weird time zone over here. And I might get rained on. So if there's thunder, I'm okay. There's a couple people being like, what's that noise? There's a giant thunderstorm there.
I can see it.
That's what that noise is. I'm covered though, so I'm okay.
You're good. There's a couple of guys in the chat, actually. Ant makes a point here. No thought for the Bournemouth fans. Oshin makes a similar point. Terrible for Bournemouth fans to travel up, start the season, no thought for them. I'm the opposite. I'm like, you know it well in advance that, okay, we're scheduled for Friday night. I'd be looking to make a weekend out of that. I'm finishing work early, midday in Bournemouth, thinking, right, I'm getting up to Liverpool, and I'm staying there overnight. And I'm going to have a night up there and enjoy the Saturday up in Liverpool and head back home on the Sunday or something. I get where people are coming from, but I think that's going to be the case for any nighttime kickoff. Gav made the point on Mick's podcast, and I agree with him. I prefer this to Saturday night 8 o'clock. I prefer the Friday night 8 p.m. kickoff than the 8 p.m. on a Saturday night when you've had a 12:30 game, a 3 o'clock game, a 5:30 game, and you're just sick to death of football in any form whatsoever by 8 o'clock. And it's just like better things to be done on a Saturday night at 8 o'clock. At least I'd like to think I had a bit of a social life that on a Saturday night at 8 o'clock I'd be out doing something. But no, it's just, I think it's a great way to, you're finishing work for the week. You can go home, have your tea, get out, and there's a match on to start your weekend off. But no, I just thought it was an interesting one when I seen lads chatting about it. I thought, it's an interesting one, right? But no, on mine, I'm like I think 3-0. I think we desperately need a clean sheet. The confidence that a clean sheet will bring us. They'll have a go, no doubt. But I think, honestly, even in charity shots, Alisson looked good.
Yeah.
I think he looks sharp. He looks sharp off the line as well, which is something that he'll probably need to be for Bournemouth.
It's the headband, isn't it, Kev?
For goal scorers, I'd love to see Verts get on the score sheet. A late run into midfield. But I'm with Ashley. I want to see a corner. I want to see that set piece delivery. He's got an accurate delivery. There's not the kind of pace that Trent puts on it, but it's accurate. And I think it's his delivery with the height that we're going to have in our 11. It's going to cause him a problem. I fancy Van Dijk to get on the score sheet. And I think Salah, if he doesn't score, he'll assist one. I think he'll have a goal involvement, but I'll have him down to score. But I think he'll have a goal involvement for sure. So, yeah, I'll go 3-0.
So I need to go a different score. Let's go positive. Let's go 4-1. Salah, Ekitike, Konate with a header from a corner, and Harvey's last touch for Liverpool is a goal in front of the Kop. I'd rather that be his last touch for Liverpool than that dreadful penalty. Because I don't think Harvey's going to be here beyond the transfer window. So I quite like his last touch at Liverpool to be a goal rather than the other way around. So, but Ash, there might be somebody else at the game. Rumour has it there's a gigantic Italian boy currently having his medical and might get paraded, assuming he can actually fit in the stadium because he's about 7 foot.
I think he's 6'5" officially, but he's 18 years old, so he could very well still be growing. So Dylan, that's for you. It looks like Leone has gotten the first part of his medical done today. He flew in earlier to Manchester Airport, so unfortunately Gav and him did not cross paths, although Gav was pretty sure he thought that they were going to cross paths when he saw some sort of Liverpool official at the Liverpool airport. So I was a little bummed out that we didn't have like an exclusive there.
Maybe that was Isak flying.
But maybe.
Talk about that in a minute.
We'll have to check back with our ITK. But yeah, no, we were talking, and I don't know if you guys in the chat can kind of help us out. Like, who was the last person that was paraded around as a new signing at Anfield? Because we were having a little bit of a hard time coming up with someone, not recently, that's for sure. But if you guys remember, let us know in the chat, because we were kind of stumped by who the last person was. I do think it'll be interesting to see him paraded around. It's going to be funny just watching this 18-year-old kid next to Virgil and Ekitike, who always look like giants, and this guy is going to be right up there. We have really increased the height of this squad this year, so I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be fun. I mean, he he still looks like he has a baby face, but yeah, I mean, he's got a lot to bring to him, and I'm really I'm really excited to doing more of like a deep dive on him, because I think that despite his limited number of games, there's actually a lot of really interesting data about why the team really picked him. And one of the interesting things that I read, just as a real quick tangent, is that Hughes has been tracking him since before he even made his debut in Italy, and that was back when he was 16 years old. So Hughes has been tracking this player for over 3 years now. So it's not an out of the blue signing. It's something that was very carefully thought through, and a lot of players and a lot of coaches have come out and said that he just has it, and they expect him, if he goes on the course that he's going on, to be up there with a Virgil van Dijk in terms of what he could possibly do. So no pressure, but that's what I'm hearing.
I was just about to say, Ocean's took my thunder there. Said breaking news. This is Bournemouth related though, so don't get too excited. Dango Awatara, who we've just said will start for Bournemouth, has just agreed.
Not anymore.
Has just agreed to move to Brentford, which I would assume was the domino for Worcester to go up to Newcastle.
So
Newcastle are being busy today. I think they got the Jacob Ramsey. It looks like they've got the Jacob Ramsey one over the line. But I think that could be a really important signing for them. This one to Brentford, it's been flagged now for about a fortnight, hasn't it, that this one was coming, and it always needed to be that. It always needed to be this. Get this one done, then get the next one, and then the next one. So we'll see how he goes. I know, I see.
David T's fault. Kev likes to look sinister. Definitely not going to upset him tonight. Don't worry, Davey. Me and Ashley have done that between us.
Dave, yeah, I know. I love coming on these pods and get slowly reminded about my age, subtly.
I'm so sorry.
Razor blades. They are horrible. But no, I think this is
love us, Kev.
Yeah, well, there's getting this one over the line is massive for Brentford. They see, the thing is, Newcastle have done to Brentford what we're being accused of doing to Newcastle, is unsettling a striker, and Jan Vissa has done exactly the same as what Alexander Isak has done, but it's just not being flagged. There's someone actually asked me earlier. I watched the overlap earlier on.
I found that ironic. Boy Keane saying you should just turn up and do your job, even if things are as you like it. The same man who walked out of a World Cup because there was no footballs.
Yeah.
Ian Wright saying no player should be doing that, despite the fact Gyökeres literally did that to me to Arsenal, where he's basically said to Sporting, sell me because I am not returning to training.
It kind of like really drives the idea that that podcast is so driven by their hatred of other clubs that they had the opportunity to make a really good football podcast and they're just incapable of doing it. And I don't give a shit if it's Jamie Carragher, Gary Neville, Roy Keane, or Ian Wright. They're absolutely incapable of being dispassionate and looking at a situation for what it is. And it's a shame because they have a fabulous platform to be able to say things that they wanted to say but can't say on TV. But they're just so blinded by tribalism that they can't see past it. And it's kind of embarrassing actually that someone like Roy Keane comes out with absolute tripe and trollop like that. You know,
and Gary Neville just to remind us all, he said, he's actually stay at Newcastle, don't want to move on and all that.
Look,
the same Gary Neville who did an article who said Man United should break the bank and get Kane out of Spurs. Listen, you do it now.
I don't give a shit what they do and what they say about their own clubs and what have you. And even Carragher talking absolute bullshit about Ekitike and Ekitike being a backup. He's not. We need 6 forwards. We're going to be playing 60 odd games. Alexander Isak, if we actually get him, all right, and it's still a big if in my opinion. If we get him, then he's not going to start that many games. He's going to start probably 35, 40. Ekitike will start plenty of football games. you know, and between the two of them, they will split it, and one of them will get injured, both of them will get injured at times, and we'll just have to fucking make do. It's football. It's a squad game.
But these are the same. Go on, sorry.
I'm not saying about the pundits now. It's just the bullshit that they come out with to try to spin a narrative, to engineer a conversation. Yeah. Simon Jordan is another tulip who does this.
Isn't it?
You know, instead of turning around and saying, look, we can see what's happening here. You know, the dominoes need to fall. But instead of saying that, they have to engineer something to get 2-3 weeks out of a conversation, which is really simple. Brentford need to get the signing for Bournemouth. Brentford will sell to Newcastle. Newcastle will do their business, and then they'll sell to Isak. And there'll be a gentleman's agreement between the two clubs that Isak will not be involved in that game for Newcastle against Liverpool. And then they'll just get on with it. That's inside a minute and a half. That's what's going to happen. And the media, because they've got fuck all else to talk about, have managed to engineer this now for 2 weeks. And every day, journalists, pundits, people with blue ticks on social media are engineering this nonsense. And we're not helping because we're sat here every night, and Alexander Isak is a topic of conversation. I'm sick fucking death of it.
That's just me sending you stuff just to wind you up.
Yeah, it is. I'm sick to death of seeing it now. I know odds are the deal's going to get done. If it isn't going to get done, we need to get someone else. Arne Slot was spot on what he says. He said today. Last season we had 5, maybe 6 forwards. Right? We need 5, maybe 6 forwards. All right, we don't have them. So if it's not going to be Alexander Isak, it has to be someone else. And they've got 11 days.
I mean, the reason I think it gets done more than anything else is we've seen how Edwards, particularly what I think he uses of a similar build, is if they're getting a pretty big whiff, it's not going to happen. They just go, right, okay, it's not happening, cool, we'll move on to the next target. We're not getting stuck around, you know. They knew it with Bellingham, they knew it with a few others, and they were like, this isn't happening. We'll move on to the next target, and we'll do it quickly, you know, because they don't want to get caught short again, as we have done in the past. Scouser Pete says, Roy Keane is a typical Cork man, Kev, full of guff and bluster, but I don't know if that's a Cork reference, Kev. I don't know if you could confirm.
Yeah, look, here's the truth, right? Roy Keane is from the city. I'm not. I don't like him. I've never liked him. I don't like. I like him. I rate him as a player. I think he's probably, arguably, one of Ireland's greatest ever footballers, without a shadow of a doubt. But the way he conducts himself off the pitch, as a pundit, the absolute trite that he trots out to create agendas and to create narratives, the way he talks about the game as if he's actually been a successful manager, he's full of shit. I don't like. He goes through me like rusty nails, and he pretty much always has. Saipan finished him with me, and there's certain things that you just don't ever let go, and I'll never let that go. I mean, Saipan to me was me done with Roy Keane.
Jolly good. Ashley, are you still with us, or has the storm took you? Okay, well, we've lost Ashley for a minute. I think she's going somewhere safe because it did like it was about to hit a horrendous storm there. So, excuse me, it was a joke. It was a joke, Chris. Yeah.
I know, buddy. I know, mate. I know.
But I also know how to get a reaction out of Kev and get him going. This is
I know. It's just certain things in being a football fan. Look, we all love football. Everyone in the chat, you all come on here every night. You all see us. We all love football. We do, and I'll talk about anything with anyone. But at the end of the day, you have to have some bit of fucking rationale and a bit of normal about it as well. You know, you can't just be tribal all the time.
It's good fun.
But there's a time and a place for it. There's a time and a place for it. And at the end of the day, when you're trying to when you want to have a conversation about a bigger picture, and that's what the transfer window is, because it's all dominoes. And when you're ignoring all the rest of the dominoes and focusing on the end one and forgetting about everything else that needs to happen in the build-up for it, there's not one person. The only person I heard today talk, and it was on that pod actually, when it was Carragher who made a point about the director of football, and the absolute shambles going on in the background at Newcastle. But it's just become one of these stories now that just rolls and rolls and rolls, and you almost forget the point of what's going on. I think the business that they've actually got in over the line, the centre back, Jacob Ramsey, I think, is a phenomenal player. Elanga they got in. They spent the bones of over 100 million. And they still have more business to do, but they don't have that PSR headroom to be doing what they've done now. So add 2 + 2, and it generally does mean you're going to get to 4. They're spending the Isak money. They're spending the headroom that the Isak money is giving them, and they're doing it. And I think they're going to do it in a different way. I can definitely see an argument where Jacob Ramsey comes in, Anthony Gordon moves more central to partner with Vissa or play off Vissa, and I can see them playing that way. And you might only end up with a 2-man midfield with a 2 up front where one stays up and one drops off. And they're not replacing like for like, because they can't replace Alexander Isak, because another Alexander Isak doesn't exist in the market today. So they're going to go around playing football in a slightly different way. And I think it'll probably suit them in the long run. But that's why I think this deal isn't as far away now as what people think. I think the Jacob Ramsey one, getting that one over the line is probably
bargains.
Yeah, but I think that could be. I think that one and get Vissa done, and then I think you'll see early next week. I think you'll see movement on Isak in a big way.
Just to finish off on Liverpool and Isak, and seeing Ashley is now back and we know she's safe, which is the main thing. We'll talk a little bit more about Isak with you, Ash, and then we'll do a bit of a round robin of the other fixtures, because there's some good fixtures this weekend. Yeah, it's definitely a day to be sat in front of the telly watching the football, not going around the zoo all day Saturday. But that's a different matter. We won't go into that. Isak, Craig Hope of the Daily Mail, who seems to be one of the few Newcastle journalists who seems to be pretty balanced and slightly less of a petulant child. We won't mention the other one. As going the exclusive, I'm not sure how exclusive it is, that Isak has gone on strike. I mean, when you read the article, it's pretty much what we know now already, which is he's training on his own. He does want to train with the club. He doesn't want to be at the club. Kind of all knew that. But he gave a list of 4 scenarios, which I think I shared you guys, and they give a couple of scenarios that probably 2 weeks ago weren't there, which was Newcastle may just sell him now and not have the 2 strikers in, which has been a bit of a narrative change as an option that's not been shown as an option before.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen with regards to Newcastle. I think what's going to happen with regards to us is that we're going to get Isak, because I said it before, I don't think Nunes goes if that deal hasn't already kind of happened behind the scenes. I mean, with regards to them, I know that they were trying Anthony Gordon through the middle. I don't know how severe that injury or hamstring thing is for Gordon.
He's okay, apparently. I think someone showed me he tweeted after the game or Instagram the game saying it was just a twisted ankle. And
okay.
Which is good for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's kind of like when we try to replace Van Dijk, you're never really going to replace like for like when you're talking about a world-class player. So you're never going to be able to find the perfect version to replace an Isak, but maybe you replace him in aggregate, kind of like I was talking yesterday with City, where, maybe a combination of Vissa, Ramsey, maybe one additional forward, that we haven't necessarily found or that we don't necessarily know about. I think there's enough there to get them through. I think what they need is bodies more than just one singular player to replace Isak. So I think getting the center back done, getting Ramsey done, it looks like, I don't know, maybe we loaned them Hughes for like 24 hours and they finally got a couple deals over the line. Yeah. Which is good to see. It's good, it's good for Davey in the chat and, any other kind of level-headed Newcastle fans, which are kind of few and far between right now.
Apart from Davey. Davey's good.
Yeah, no, Davey's good. I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that are just kind of done with this whole kind of saga. Like I'm done with the new spin every day. It's the same information that we just saw yesterday. Like he's been on strike for like a month now. It's not new information that he's suddenly on strike now. You're just kind of framing it in different ways so that you can put out another article with another 200 words or whatever, because that's what you're getting paid to do, and it's going to still generate clicks. And so at this point in time, I'm just like, just get it done. I'm a little bit fed up with just like the same story over and over again. And I apologize to anyone that's listening. There's a clock, there's a dog, there's a thunderstorm. This was not planned. I just needed to get inside so that I didn't get struck by lightning. So I apologize to anyone listening on audio for the poor audio quality.
So sticking with our potential incomings, do we see Guehi happening? Very conflicting story. Some say he's happy to wait out his contract. I don't think Palace are, though.
I don't think Palace are that kind of club who can afford him to. And to be honest, I don't think we are when it comes to Ibu Konate. I think that we're very similar. I think losing Trent on a free stung. They didn't like it. And they were kind of helpless in that one. But I don't think they'll want it to happen twice. And I don't think Palace are that type of club who can ignore a 30, 35, 38 million pounds fee, whatever it turns out to be. They're generally very good at finding players. They tend to do well in the German and French market. So the flip side is you're potentially losing your captain, your most experienced defender, your best defender, one of your best players. And while they'll want to maximize the fee, I think they're pretty much set. They have to get it. They have to get a fee. The fact they turned 65 million down in January is probably in January it made sense because look at what it resulted in. You know, an FA Cup, a Charity Shield, qualified for Europe. But they can't. 35 million to Crystal Palace is a lot of money. So I think that one probably happens. But I also think he needs to play a lot. You know, Thomas Tuchel probably won't. He'll probably take him to the World Cup. But I think it strengthens his case if he gets like 20, 25, 30 starts. Now, is he going to get 30 starts for us in a season? Probably. But it's a gamble on his part. You know, he'll really have to back himself. It's going to be a difficult transition for him, going from being a club captain at Crystal Palace and a leader in that dressing room to being one of the lads at Liverpool who is going to have a different role in the squad. So at the same time, I think he'll back himself. I think he'll fancy himself to be able to do it. I hope it happens. I do. Look, you guys know I really, really like him a lot. So
my thing with the game time thing is, I'm Ash. You can say if you agree or not. If a player says, "Oh, I'm not coming because I'll get game time," Cam says to me, "You don't want that player then because the best players back themselves going." That's fine. I'll come in as what you think is a squad option, but trust me, when I get him aside, you ain't getting me out. And Diogo Jota was the classic example of that. We all thought, oh, he's coming in as a squad option. That's great. Once he got him aside, as much as we loved him, Bobby couldn't get back in the side. He was the man, you know. And I think we've seen with Slot, you play well enough, he's quite happy just to keep you in. You know, he only rotates when he needs to. You know what I mean? So, and you know what? Whether Konate stays, Konate goes, he might like to fire up Konate a little bit as well. Like, oh shit, you know, if I don't play well, there is an England international that's going to take my space.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Guehi is I think he gets plenty of game time. I don't even think he needs to fight for it because I think that Slot is going to try to approach this season hopefully with a little bit more rotation. I know that he likes his starting two, but we saw at the end of the season the drop-off that happened right around that kind of Newcastle Cup game. I don't want to see that happen again. And I think that we saw that with Konate specifically. And we saw Konate have an injury after that Madrid game. There are things that happened that, you know, we needed another center back to come in. The other thing that I've seen floated around is Guehi's possible ability to play as a kind of a defensive midfielder and maybe step in for a Gravenberch. And we haven't really seen what this final iteration of Slot's defensive line looks like. The thing with Leone and Guehi is they're both very comfortable playing in a back three. So I don't know if there's a way that you could get even all three of those players on the pitch. I don't think we need to have it happen that often because we're not going to be playing against teams where we really need to have that much defensive solidity. But, whether it's Kanate getting rest, whether it's Virgil getting rest, which, believe it or not, he will need eventually, or even Gravenberch getting rest, I think that there's a way that they play. And I believe he also covers right back and left back, or at least one of the two sides. So I don't know. I think that there's enough there. I don't think that there's any issue whatsoever. I think that, he will know what he's signing up for, and I don't think he's gonna have to force anyone out. I think that Slot's gonna use like a horses for courses scenario and really rotate them properly so that we don't see the burnout that we saw last year.
Okay. No, looking at the chat, I found out who the last player was we presented on the pitch. It was in the Klopp era. That's how recent it was.
I'm guessing it was a January signing.
I'm not saying, but it was in the Klopp era.
Oh, okay.
My guess would be like a Naby Keita or something because we had him for such a long time, on the books.
No, it would have been a late signing because if it's a summer signing, it would have been a late signing in the window.
Please don't tell me it was like.
I'll go Lewis Diaz.
Okay. It was a January signing, Kev.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
He's currently our captain. It was Virgil van Dijk. He was presented. He was presented just before we played Leicester, and then he was sat in the stands because we presented him just before the January window opened. Which when I saw, I was like, "Oh yeah, it's quite a big name to forget that, really, isn't it?" So, but doesn't happen very often. So, let's put Ben Davis. Ben Davis never existed. He was a hologram. So, right, for a bit of fun, should we do some score predictions?
I'll just have a quick shoot through. Yeah,
Villa, Newcastle. Don't upset Davey T.
No, I think Newcastle. Newcastle home win.
It's at Villa.
It's at Villa. I still fancy Newcastle.
Okay.
1-0.
Ash.
I think Villa. I think that there's just a lot of turmoil going on at Newcastle, and I don't think they've looked very good in preseason. So I'm gonna go 2-1 to Villa.
That's what I had as well. 2-1 Villa. Ash, stick with you. Brighton at home to Fulham.
That has a draw for me. I don't think Fulham has really signed anyone. Brighton have signed everyone. So 1-1 for me on that one.
Kev?
You fancy Brighton at home. I got
2-0 Brighton. Kev, Sunderland, West Ham? I fancy Sunderland for this 2-1.
Yeah, so do I. Probably Sunderland 2-1.
Ash?
I'm going to go 1-0 Sunderland just with the excitement of coming back into the league.
Yeah, I think that's a big
Ash,
deal.
stick with you. We've got Tottenham against Burnley. I still think Tottenham will win 2-0 because I know they lost and we all joke saying did a bit of a Spurs, but I actually thought for 80 minutes, I thought Spurs were really good, really well organised.
Yeah, I think there's enough there in that Spurs performance to think that they're going to be a good proposition. And I think they have goals in them.
Which you don't think Burnley do?
No, I'm going to go 3-0.
Kev?
For Spurs.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd go with 3-0 as well. I was impressed with Spurs. Genuinely, I was impressed with them. I thought Thomas Frank, the more he works with that side, the better they're going to get, the more organised they're going to get, the fitter they'll get. They will get fitter. And the fact they took PSG to 2-2, irrespective of the fact that was PSG's equivalent to a pre-season. Forget the penalties because, look, penalties are random as fuck. Anything can happen in a penalty shootout. The fact that they looked that good for that long, and it could have been more. They ran PSG ragged at times. So yeah, they're going to be a problem this season.
David T's got West Ham beating Sunderland 4-0. I can't think why that is. Kev, Saturday night football, Wolves at home to City. Now, I would say 2-3 years ago, we'd have gone, what a bastard of a game that is, because Wolves at home to City's normally, Wolves have quite a good record. I can't see City not beating them, because the Wolves just look a bit of a mess.
They do, and I think City could run riot in that one. I think you could look. I fancy City to rack up a scoreline in that one, maybe 4, could even be 5. Even if it's away, I just think Wolves are. I said the other night, I think Wolves are probably out of all of the sides in the Premier League as an established Premier League club. I think they're the one I'd look at potentially is getting dragged into a relegation.
Ash, what have you got for Wolves City?
3-0 City, and I think Haaland gets a few because he loves scoring on the opening day. He loves like early hat tricks in the season. Yeah. I'm not as worried about Wolves. I don't know. I feel like their coach like made a really, really good effort at the tail end of last season, and the fact that they've been able to keep him, I think, is probably their greatest asset. So I'm actually curious to see what he can do with that team going forward. Ash, against City, I don't think there's any competition.
Yeah, Ash, stick with you. We're on Sunday games now. Chelsea Palace.
I think Chelsea have looked good. I think they looked good in the World Club Cup. I think they have lots of talent. Palace, a couple players might be unsettled. There might be a couple players on the bench that are not playing. 2-0 Chelsea.
I've got 2-1 Chelsea. Kev?
Yeah, I think Chelsea 2-0. Really looking forward to seeing that team sheet when it comes out. Palace
Forest Brentford?
I think Forest, the best thing that Forest did this season was keep that centre-back pairing together. They've lost Elanga, but it looks like they're gone and done a madness this week with some spending. None of those, I don't think any of them will be available for the weekend, but fancy Forest. 3-1.
Ash?
Yeah.
I'm going to go 1-0. Yeah, 1-0. But I just want to see Kelleher do well. I don't know.
1-0 and Keller saves the penalties to stop it being 2.
Yeah, wow. Something like that. I mean, I feel like he's going to do his very best, but I think that Forest is going to overpower them. But I don't think it's going to be like a landslide. I think Kelleher is going to keep them in it.
And the first Super Sunday game is Man United at home to Arsenal, which, of course, has pissed off every Arsenal fan going. I'm going to go for a 2-2.
Okay.
I think Manchester United beat them. I think United beat them probably 2-1, maybe 3-1. Okay.
Ash?
Go on, sorry.
Oh, you're on mute, Ash, sorry.
Well, I've got the dogs and the thunderstorm. I'm trying to kind of keep the noise to a minimum. I would love a draw in that game, and I'm just going to try to will it into existence. So I'm going to go 1-1, and I think Gyökeres misses like an absolute sitter. That's what I'm going to will into existence.
What it could be, because there's a new the latest FA clampdown is on holding in the penalty area. So it could be a 2-2 where Saliba gives a penalty away for holding someone. Because it's always Arsenal that gets stung with it. So let's get that narrative going as well.
Let's see if they actually do it.
It's like anything.
Because
they'll do it for 2 weeks and then piss it off.
They talk a good game, but they generally don't bother. But I just think that it's a horrible first fixture for both sides, but it's a good one in another way, because I think United will go into it, even the fact that they're at home, given the season they've just had, irrespective of the business they've done this summer. Arsenal are expecting to be challenging for a title this season. United really aren't. United fans, I think, the grown-ups, the adults in the rooms, will be quite happy if they finish in the European places this season. And I think they'll fancy it. I think they'll fancy it at home. And Mbeumo and Cunha on the counter against Arsenal could be a right problem for them.
I really like Jono's call there. If Sesko scores and Gyökeres doesn't, that would be fantastic. Would be fantastic.
And then the final one, which is Aunt Dicko's favourite one, which is Dirty Leeds at home to Everton. And Leeds have just signed Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Is it written in the stars for Dominic Calvert-Lewin to come off the bench and score the winner?
Yes.
I'd like to hope so.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those football
Don't
cliches
want to play
that
the
players going back to their old clubs tend to do it. You know, whether he's available or not, who knows? You know, see what the team sheets are like. But it'll be a cracking game. As someone said in the chat earlier on, it's a throwback fixture to the late 70s, early 80s. Leeds United against Everton. It's two traditional big clubs, you know, with excitable fans, let's put it that way, or moody fans when the mood takes them. But yeah, I think Leeds coming up, they'll avoid this one. They'll avoid this one up, and they'll want to start. I think the sides who come up, their best chance is early. You know, early doors, early
I
points on
think
the board. Try to do something because they are going to hit a brick wall. It's just staving off the brick wall for as long as humanly possible. And you'd have to fancy the promoted sides because they're nothing but banana skins.
Well, I think Leeds
all
need
of
to
them.
hit the ground running because I think you would argue their first 5 games is probably the more favourable for the promoted sides because
Yeah.
I do think Sunderland and Burnley's opening 5 are a bit more tricky. So Charlton to get a chance. I've got 2-1 Leeds because Ferguson said it. He's right, and I think he's right. Is you always want to avoid a newly promoted side in the first 4 or 5 games, especially away from Homestead, because you don't quite know what you're going to get, and that's where you normally hit the momentum. Ash, we'll leave it with you. What's your score?
2-1. I think, yeah, away games to newly promoted sides. I mean, I think back to even Ipswich last year, and we all know where Ipswich finished, but they gave us a really good game for that first game, and that was a hard place to go. And I mean, Ellen Road, I think is so much has so much more potential to be rocking, I guess, without, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the Ipswich fans, but I think that the Leeds fans really know how to get that place going. So I think it could be kind of a bear pit. So yeah, I'm going to go 2-1
Cool.
to Leeds.
Right, before we go, don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And Kev keeps covering Ashley's face, but we do have a Patreon as well. So
I'm going to put it up here, and Ashley can just
hide Ashley's face. So if you click the QR code here, that'll take you to our Patreon page. You can sign up. First month is free, and we have stuff behind the paywall. That's the one.
Yay!
It's only took us 65 minutes to get that one up. Well done, Kev. So, but we do stuff behind the paywall. So, and speaking behind the paywall, the 20 is back this Saturday. So it'll be Ash, Kev, and I believe Matt. We're a bit like Sky Sports. We're going to watch the last 20 minutes of the 3 o'clock kickoffs and instant reactions and what we think, which is cool. And also with the Patreon, we are able to do shows that we can't do on YouTube, where we can do video analysis. Ash has done some great work and doing some deep dives into our new signings. The rate we'll go with new signings should be doing this until about November. So, but they are really good, as they are well worth a watch. So sign up, see if you like it, and also you get to join our Telegram group as well, which is always great fun. And even the occasional wind up, but we will go into that. So before we go, any other shows, Kev, I've missed? I'm sure there's one I've missed.
We'll be doing a post-match after the Bournemouth game. So usual time, usually about 15 minutes after the final whistle, we'll be back. We'll go over it. You guys can have your say, and we'll have our say, and we'll probably have loads of blazing rows and all that lovely good stuff. But we don't really mean anything about it. But yeah, no, the season's going to start in earnest now, and the shows are going to come thick and fast. So bell icon. Make sure you have your reminders set up. If you are in the Patreon, so I've got my Patreon set up so I get the notifications. I go in through Patreon and then click the YouTube button to go into YouTube chat from there, and it's just the same as normal. And that's the same for any show, whether it's on Patreon or on YouTube. I get the notifications through. It just makes it a bit easier for me. But yeah, no, looking forward to it. Can't wait. The other thing as well, I wanted to mention it quickly because there's only until an hour before kickoff tomorrow night. If you are going to join, you want to join if you are a member and you want to join the fantasy football, if you are in the Telegram group, let me know and we'll get a link to you, and we'll have a bit of fun with that through the season as well. Odds are by September we'll have all forgotten about it.
That's why
Well,
I don't do it.
you know.
So I always forget about it.
I'm the same. I know I'll forget
Cool.
about it as well.
Right, Ash.
Oh, that's a good one, actually. Madge makes a point. Ref cam. The refs are going to be talking now through major decisions, major VAR decisions through the PA system. I don't know, Madge, you might be able to tell us are they going to have ref cam this season?
Wasn't the talk of trialing it this weekend?
If they are, I'm really looking forward to seeing it, because that combined with VAR, I want to see what the referee sees from the camera angle that he's looking at when he has to make a decision through VAR. Because the amount of times you look at it and goes, how can you not see that? And then when you see the actual camera angle, I was watching it during the Club World Cup, some of the angles that the referees pick up, it'll be interesting to see that, because you'll get an idea through the season. The referees who get themselves into the good positions more often than not, and the ones who are out of position. And I bet you correlate that with the amount of VAR decisions that are overturned or made because of referees in bad positions. That ref cam could be really, really interesting to keep an eye on through the season.
Cool. Ash, anything from you before we go?
No, I'm just trying to get out of this show alive with all the animals and all the storms and everything intact. I do think that ref cam, if it is going to happen, along with the live kind of speaker, it will make the ref watch shows that we're doing much more interesting. Especially if we could, somehow get footage of what the referees were seeing during that incident. So that'll be coming back as well. Hopefully not with us. Or any sort of footage from our game, but I'm sure that there will be enough kind of incidents over the course of the weekend to bring that back.
Yeah.
So yeah, look out for that on the Patreon as well. But yeah, otherwise, just up the Reds, and I'm just really, really excited to start the season. I feel like I don't know, it's like that kid on Christmas morning energy. So I'm really, really excited.
Cool. Right, on that happy note then, we'll let you all go. Thanks for watching. Speak very soon. Until then, take care. Up the Reds.